Hi everyone. Today I want to share you a personal essay that I wrote. It's called "When I Look at the Mirror." On a daily basis, I look at myself to the mirror. The reason why I look at myself at the mirror is because I deal with being continuously being bullied by people, especially people who I know about how I struggle with my disability. Or sometimes when they tell me that I look stupid or ugly or a retard, when they make negative comments about how my body looks or how I look, and even other hurtful words, including harassment, hits me hard. When I look at myself at the mirror, I see a reflection of myself where I feel a moment of sadness. I start to have tears coming through my eyes. Sometimes I cry when I look at it because I feel sadness about being bullied and feeling ashamed about myself as a person, including being a man with a disability in a society that is broken or is filled with bigotry, including hate. I have to try to do a pep talk to myself, to tell myself that it's just another day. You're going to get through this. You are just another human being who is trying my best to do good things, like being kind, including compassionate, along with using critical thinking skills to better improve myself while expand on knowledge to assist me on learning while navigating in a society that is broken. It's a lot of work to motivate myself to do a pep talk to myself. There are times I feel shame, guilt, exhausted, mentally fatigued, and trying to motivate myself to be upbeat and to ignore the hurtful words, including the bullying, all the time before I leave the house to do other things, like maybe go to work or go to downtown or do volunteering, like helping feed homeless people who struggle, or simply just being in a public setting, or if I have to do a Zoom meeting in my room. When I come home from doing tasks or after I finish doing some Zoom meetings, I continue to look in the mirror. I keep asking myself the same questions from previously about how I feel. It hurts so much when I deal with being bullied. People, including women or girls, like to tell me that I look ugly or a retard. Having challenges of some people who are homeless, where they get aggressive at me when I can't help them with everything that they need, which makes them call me bad words. Having to deal with being spit at or other forms of harassment, including dealing with a lot of anti disability stigma in society and many others. It's hard having these emotions because I do feel the same way of feeling guilt, ashamed, and sadness. Sometimes I cry when I look at myself in the mirror because I feel very fatigued, confused, and I feel powerless and hopeless. The reason why I have these feelings is because I'm simply just trying to do good things, doing doing my best to help others, using critical thinking to the best as I can. However, people aren't appreciative of it due to my struggles with my disability, including being different from other people. Also, I get easy fatigue and simply just trying my hardest to be upbeat, doing my best to navigate a society that is broken, trying my hardest not to show a reaction when people like to use bigotry, including hate, but I feel burned out. Sometimes, in order to help me stop from having to cry when I look at myself, I take a shower with a little bit of peppermint body wash to help reduce the pain in myself. I do this as a way to try to have a good scent to help distract my emotions, while I try to keep myself calm. It's hard after I take a shower. I still feel sadness about many people, especially people I know, or some of my friends who like to use bigotry, including hate. Or when I see many public officials, including members of our judicial system, or celebrities, or even social media influencers, or sometimes YouTubers, that like to make hateful statements about people with disabilities, where this encourages many people, including people who I know or some of my friends, to follow this type of bad behavior. When this happens, it makes me even sad because there are too many times many people who I know, especially some of my friends, or people who I know in general, whether it's through volunteering or through work or in other public settings or social settings or even on social media platforms, they like to use anti-disability stigma on me or like to use it as a way to blame me for problems that I didn't cause. It makes me really sad when I look at myself on my body. I keep asking myself, do I look great? Am I attractive? Am I good looking when girls, including other people, tell me that I look ugly or look stupid or I look like a retard? I feel hurt inside. I try to tell myself quietly as I stare into the mirror that the best thing that I can do is try to be creative on how to keep myself in shape, like doing exercising, being creative on doing dieting, or even have a balance between sweets, including healthy, as a way to remind myself that it's okay that I am simply just trying to stay healthy and being creative. As I look at myself, all I can do is to remind myself that it's okay for me to be casual while have creativity on what I wear. Again, it's even hard when people I know or some of my friends get mean at me or even put me down. I stare at myself. I keep asking myself, do I really have friends? Am I a bad person just because I can't meet the standards or their wants or their needs? How come my friends or some people I know like to use bigotry and hate against me or to encourage other people to bully me? I have to remind myself that I am simply just a human being who wants to care about people, be creative with critical thinking skills, try my best to be a good listener, even if I struggle with my disability or if I have challenges on how I can best communicate my thoughts in different settings. Whenever social media platforms get out of control, or when I deal with the hateful messages from other people about how I look, or if they don't like how I'm very creative, or if I'm simply just different from other people. I keep looking at myself again. I ask myself, why do people like to use hate against me for just trying to put a photo of me, or to even if I'm trying to share my creativity? However, there is no real right answer. I have to tell myself that social media platforms are never easy. Many people have different ways of using it. Some people like to compare, where they like to use mean words, or to even encourage other people to bully me, or other bad rumors. I have to tell myself the best thing that I can simply do with social media platforms is to give myself a break. Reduce my time scrolling on there and continue my best to be a human being with good principles or traits, especially using critical thinking skills, as best as I can, even though it isn't popular. In conclusion, as I look again in the mirror, I keep asking myself, how will I be able to survive in a society where it relies on bigotry, including hate, against people with disabilities like me? How will I be able to navigate situations where I get easily bullied by many people, or some of my friends, or people in general, for simply struggling with a disability, or if I can't meet everybody's wants, including needs, or if I'm different? How will I be able to feel confident on myself when I deal with women, including girls, or other people that tease me for having a disability, or they tell me that I look ugly, or if I look like I'm a retard, and many other meanness? Even though I don't have friends, I always ask myself, is there anyone or people in general that can be good or appreciative of me for simply being a human being with good intentions despite challenges, or understand that I'm trying my best to work hard in life? These questions keep popping up almost all the time, even when I get up in the morning, after I finish brushing my teeth, including shaving, getting home from doing tasks, or if I'm getting ready for bed. The only thing I can basically just try to do is to tell myself while looking into the mirror is that the only thing that I can simply just do is try to focus on trying to be a human being who wants to do good things. Expand on critical thinking skills to learn or to develop on tasks or to improve myself. Try my best to find different coping strategies to help me out. And try to give myself grace for simply reminding myself that I am just a human being who struggles with a disability, but tries my best to do good things. And if people don't appreciate that, or friends, including people who I know, who bully me, if women, including girls, like to tease me, all I can simply just do again and say that I'm just a human being trying to navigate or survive in a society that is broken or filled with bigotry. I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to my short piece. Um, it wasn't very easy. It took me almost 3 years to work on it, to get my thoughts organized, to talk to my computer to work on this. But I want to share this piece was to tell people what it's like when I deal with challenges of being bullied for simply having a disability, and whether it's how I look or whether it's other things too. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I try to um, ask myself the questions about how am I going to navigate society that is broken, trying to remind myself that I'm just a human being. So I hope that we can live in the future in a society where we don't have to rely on bigotry, including hate against anybody that's different, especially people with disabilities, and to remind people when people say mean things or use anti disability stigma, it hurts many people with disabilities. And so, again, thank you for taking the time to listen to my short little speech. I did the best I could to speak on the best I can, even though I'm not a good speaker, or sometimes it's hard for me to write a very good piece. Have a good day.